Glenn Grant. He's an ex-advisor to Ukrainian Defense Minister, joining us from Riga. Thank you very much. Now we have a breaking news. Reports are coming from Manchester that a stabbing incident has occurred outside a synagogue. The police have been called and the area has been secured. The Northwestern Ambulance Service has confirmed the incident, stating that emergency resources have been dispatched to the scene. The service also stressed that they are monitoring the situation and working to ensure that people receive help as quickly as possible. Now we move on. The United States and Brazil are working to arrange an in-person meeting between President Donald Trump and President Lula da Silva. The thaw in relations is expected as both leaders who met on the sidelines of the UNGA decided to hold a meeting in the following weeks. Earlier during the second Trump administration, relations between Brazil and the United States had been tense, particularly over the trial of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, who has been convicted by a Brazilian court. President Trump and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio have consistently claimed that Bolsonaro's trial of being politically motivated. The United States had also imposed a 50% tariff, among the highest on Brazilian exports to the U.S. However, after a brief encounter at the UNGA sidelines, President Trump stated that he had excellent chemistry with President Lula and hoped to meet the leader soon. The United States and Brazil are working to arrange an in-person meeting between President Donald Trump and President Lula da Silva. The thaw in relations is expected as both leaders who met on the sidelines of the UNGA decided to hold a meeting in the following weeks. Earlier during the second Trump administration, relations between Brazil and the United States had been tense, particularly over the trial of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, who has been convicted by Brazilian court. Now for this discussion, we go back to Glenn Grant. He's an ex-advisor to Ukrainian Defense Minister, joins us live from Riga. Thank you very much, Glenn, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, how significant do you think this potential meeting and the thaw between these presidents are for this U.S.-Brazil relations?
Well, in the wider context, they are very important because, as you know, Brazil is a leading member of BRICS, along with with China, Russia, South Africa, and the BRICS have been sort of lining up against USA as in the world context. The Deep South versus the West. So America can't really afford, in global context, to have all the BRICS on the other side, especially as India has been, really working close to Russia in recent weeks. In detail, I mean, you mentioned Bolsonaro, who's now been convicted. He got 27 years for an attempted coup, and Lula actually commented that had Trump been in Brazil, Trump would now be in prison for 27 years, and that there was no law in America. So Trump has taken that rather badly. And as you know, in July, he upped the tariff to Brazil to by another 40% to 50%. Brazil and America actually have got quite a substantial trade. And Brazil exports about 40 billion to US. And if that tariff stays, then Brazil is going to lose a lot of jobs if the Americans no longer buy expensive Brazilian equipment. And that ranges everything from fuel to aircraft. So Trump needs to soothe this down because he can't afford to have Brazil really as an enemy at this stage.
Right, and also adding ex-president Jair Bolsonaro to our conversation, our discussion, given the differing stances on Jair Bolsonaro's trial, how do you see this issue influencing their relations?
Oh, I think it could be a deal breaker. I mean, it depends upon Trump. I mean, you know what Trump is like. I mean, if he goes in there with the ambition of trying to defend his view of the world and what you're allowed to do, and that Bolsonaro is not really guilty and is only doing what a president should do, then that could actually be a complete deal breaker. And Lula is not noted for being for being accommodating. Let's just say that, and he will not enjoy Trump saying things about Bolsonaro at all. So Trump has got to be well briefed by his team that Bolsonaro probably should be off the agenda completely when they meet, and they should just stick to economic and geopolitical issues. But I have a feeling that Trump won't do that, that he'll dive in with both feet first, and we could then see something that isn't useful for the West in general.
Thank you very much, Glenn, for sharing that insight all the way from Riga.